What if there was a way to bring back a beloved character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, creating the perfect opportunity for their return? Since Chris Evans bid farewell to the MCU as Captain America in Avengers Endgame, fans have been yearning for his comeback. Fortunately, there may be a missing story that holds the key to his return, and it could be a game-changer. So what is this missing story, and how could it pave the way for Chris Evans' triumphant return to the franchise? Let's explore the possibilities and delve into the exciting concept of Nomad, a potential project that has fans buzzing with anticipation. There has been a strong desire among fans to see Chris Evans reprise his role as Captain America in the MCU, and there is a missing story that could provide the perfect opportunity for his return. Avengers Endgame marked the conclusion for several of the original Avengers, including Black Widow sacrificing herself for the Soul Stone and Iron Man sacrificing himself to save the universe.
Just ready.
Let's kick his ass.
Meanwhile, Captain America embarked on a time-traveling mission to return the Infinity Stones, ultimately finding his own happy ending. As a result, Chris Evans made the decision to depart from the MCU after Avengers Endgame. However, the calls for his return to the franchise have continued to resonate with fans. Chris Evans made his debut as Steve Rogers in Captain America: The First Avenger back in 2011 and went on to become a prominent figure in the MCU. Throughout his time in the role, he faced off against formidable adversaries like the Red Skull and Thanos. He even found himself at odds with his fellow Avengers during the events of Captain America: Civil War, leading to his classification as a fugitive alongside Natasha Romanoff and Sam Wilson. After a 2-year hiatus, the trio returned in Avengers Infinity War. Yet there are undoubtedly intriguing and untold stories waiting to be explored from their time away. With the desire for Chris Evans' return and the rich history of his character, there is much anticipation for what the future holds in the MCU. Could a missing chapter in Steve Rogers' journey provide the ideal storyline to bring him back? The possibilities are enticing, and fans eagerly await any news regarding his potential return to the franchise. First of all, let us introduce Nomad to our non-comic Marvel fans. Nomad is a Marvel Comics character who has appeared in the past. Nomad was introduced as an alter ego for the original Captain America Steve Rogers in Captain America No. 180 in December 1974 by writer Steve Englehart and artist Sal Buscema. Other characters later assumed Nomad's identity in the comics. In Captain America No. 261 to 263, from September to November 1981, writer J.M. DeMatteis revived the name of a minor character named Edward Ferbel. It grew in popularity after Jack Monroe claimed the title in Captain America No. 282 in June 1983. Other people, including Rikki and Steve Rogers' adopted son Ian Rogers, have taken on the role of Nomad. However, it all started with Steve Rogers. In Captain America No. 180, Steve Rogers becomes disillusioned with the U.S. government after learning that a high-ranking official, possibly President Richard Nixon, is the leader of a terrorist organization known as the Secret Empire. Rogers, feeling betrayed and losing faith in his country, decides to retire as Captain America, believing he can no longer serve America. A confrontation with Hawkeye, disguised as the Golden Archer, however, convinces Rogers that he cannot abandon his life as a hero. He adopts the name Nomad, which represents being a man without a country, and dons a new dark blue and yellow costume devoid of any patriotic symbols. Rogers' tenure as Nomad is brief, lasting only 4 issues of the comic book. It had its ups and downs, with triumphs and even some amusing mishaps, such as tripping over his own cape. In Captain America No. 184, Rogers finally realizes that he can uphold America's ideals while not blindly supporting its government. He returns to his role as Captain America, continuing to fight for justice and freedom. Now let's come back to our theory. The primary theory surrounding a potential Steve Rogers movie focuses on his task of returning the Infinity Stones in Avengers Endgame. However, the more captivating narrative lies in the untold story of Steve Rogers' time as Nomad between Captain America: Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. This grounded exploration of Rogers' character would offer a fascinating storyline distinct from the cosmic adventure of returning the Infinity Stones. It would provide an opportunity for Chris Evans to showcase his acting skills in a subtler MCU tale. To elaborate, while Rogers assumed the identity of Nomad, the man without a country, for just 4 issues in the comics, In the MCU, he remained a fugitive for 2 years. Some fragments of this narrative were revealed in the Avengers Infinity War Prelude comics, which connect to the MCU. They depict Rogers, Romanoff, and Wilson dismantling a terrorist group smuggling Chitauri weaponry into the United States. Nonetheless, it's difficult to believe that this mission constituted the entirety of Steve Rogers' experiences as Nomad. Marvel Studios has already demonstrated its ability to create a successful standalone film set in the past with one of its prominent heroes. This was evident in the release of Black Widow in 2021, which took place during the 2-year period between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. Despite Black Widow's fate in the present timeline, Scarlett Johansson reprised her role for a final time in the movie. Black Widow served as both a character study for Romanoff and a means to reveal significant details about her past. Therefore, a similar approach could be taken with Steve Rogers, providing an opportunity to delve into his story during his time as Nomad. Black Widow may not have achieved the level of success that Marvel Studios had anticipated, but it did introduce a new approach to storytelling within the MCU. It highlighted the potential for exploring untold or missing stories involving well-known heroes. Considering this, there is nothing preventing Marvel Studios from further developing retrospective adventures to fill in the gaps in the narratives of high-profile characters. A Nomad project centered around Steve Rogers prior to his return in Avengers Infinity War could offer a grounded, gritty, and realistic story that would be appealing to Chris Evans, particularly since Captain America's previous solo projects have always embraced an element of realism. Such a venture could entice Evans to rejoin the MCU. A Nomad Steve Rogers movie would address a crucial concern regarding the introduction of Chris Evans as Captain America in the MCU. With the passing of the mantle to Sam Wilson at the end of Avengers Endgame, there is a need to ensure that Wilson's development as the new Captain America is not overshadowed by the return of the original. The transition of Wilson from Falcon to Captain America was expertly portrayed in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and his acceptance of the role carried significant emotional weight that should be respected. In order to allow Sam Wilson to flourish as the MCU's Captain America, it is important to provide him with the necessary time and space to grow. He is set to make his next appearance in Phase 5's Captain America New World Order, and the presence of Steve Rogers' Captain America could potentially disrupt this progression. Therefore, it would be a better approach for Marvel Studios not to bring back Chris Evans as Captain America in the present timeline. Instead, a Nomad project could offer a poignant and intense story centered around Steve Rogers, without undermining Sam Wilson's journey as Captain America. This would also allow Wilson to fully embrace the role and establish his own legacy without any sense of being overshadowed. In a nutshell, the idea of a Nomad project in the Marvel Cinematic Universe could be the perfect opportunity to bring back Chris Evans and explore an intriguing chapter in Steve Rogers' story. Rather than focusing on his cosmic adventure of returning the Infinity Stones, a Nomad film would delve into the grounded and subtle aspects of Rogers' character.